Hi and welcome to this video where I show you how I draw and color soap bubbles. Under a completed pages video where I showcased a page from Small Victories by Joanna Basford, this one with a butterfly, I was asked how I created the soap bubbles and whether I could make a video about it. So that's what I'm doing now. If you're new to this channel, hi, my name is Ina. If not, welcome back. If you'd like to see how I color something specific, feel free to leave a comment and I'll try to make a video about it. First, let's take a look at some photos of soap bubbles. You can clearly see how they appear. On one hand, they are transparent, meaning you can see the background through them. On the other hand, they are also colorful, especially around the edges, with some colors extending slightly towards the center. Some bubbles appear more blue-green, others pink-orange, and some are completely multicolored. This happens because light, such as sunlight, hits the soap bubbles. This light contains all 7 colors of the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Each color has a different wavelength. When light shines on the soap bubbles, it reflects both from the outer and inner layers of the bubble's surface. Depending on the thickness of the soap film, certain colors of light are either cancelled out or intensified through reflection. This results in different colors being visible to our eyes. Due to gravity and evaporation, the thickness of the soap film constantly changes, showcasing its shimmering play of colors until it eventually bursts. Consequently, soap bubbles always look different. Okay, enough with the theory. Now I show you how I drew the soap bubbles here, and later how I color soap bubbles in a coloring book. For this, I'm simply using the test page in Small Victories. To make them nice and round, I use a stencil and then take my lightest color, in this case yellow. By the way, I'm using pastel pencils from Faber-Castell, but as always, you can use whatever pencils you have, and also other materials. Now I'll just draw a circle here and then make a second one. You can barely see it right now, and you don't even have to press as hard as I'm doing here. I've only done that so it's easier to see in the video. I'm just going to use some watercolor paper underneath to keep the page flat so it's easier to draw. I'll start with yellow, simply adding an irregular shape along the edge and easing up the pressure as I move towards the center. Then I'll do the same thing on the opposite side. Next, I'll use pastel orange to fill in this small gap, again creating a somewhat irregular shape. I always try to blend it with the previous color. Then I'll take pastel red and do the same thing again. Now I'll add a bit of color on this side as well to make it look more uneven and random. Next up is pastel purple. Of course, you can choose any colors you like. It's really up to you. Now I'll add some pastel blue and a bit of turquoise. A little more yellow for blending and also just a touch in the center. Right now it still looks a bit like a colorful donut, But now I'll use my Posca marker to add these white highlights and lines, just like I did on the other page. I'll probably need to apply a second layer in a moment. Now I'm going to create a second soap bubble from the circle, and I'll make it a bit more uneven here, just like you've seen in some of the photos. The shape pulls inward a bit at the top and bottom, leaving a strip in the middle free. Of course, if you would like, you can simply take a picture of a soap bubble and try to recreate it. I'll use the Posca marker again. For the larger white areas, I'll make them trapezoidal, and the lines can be a bit thicker as well. Last time I used the Sakura jelly roll instead of the Posca, which also worked really well. It's best if the bubbles aren't just floating alone on the page, but are integrated into the picture, with multiple bubbles in different sizes. Now I create another one where I don't press down as hard with a kind of outline. Just like I did on the butterfly page, I won't use any green for this one. Since the colors in a soap bubble are irregularly distributed and constantly changing, there are no strict rules, no right or wrong. These white highlights will need a second layer too. Here we have 3 different soap bubbles. One without green, one with more green but no red or orange, and one at the top with a bit of everything. I just realized I made the outer area a bit darker on the butterfly page, so I quickly adjust that now. And I prefer it with this slightly bolder edge. Now I show you how I apply this technique in an illustration of a coloring book. Here I have Worlds Within Worlds by Kerby Rosane. In this book there's a page with large soap bubbles. This double page spread here. Since I'm not sure how I want to do the background yet, I leave the middle part empty for now, allowing the background to show through later. I color a small bubble now, just to demonstrate. With these larger ones here, you can clearly see that the motif is separated on the inside, and the soap bubble effect is applied only to this border here. The white areas are already drawn in, which makes the whole process easier. In the middle here, the background will shine through later. As I mentioned, I haven't decided yet how I'll color it. Maybe in blue. I think once the entire page is finished, it will look really good. I couldn't be satisfied with just the 3 soap bubbles and small victories. So I added more that aren't completely on the page, which makes it more interesting. Here too, I used different color combinations. Then I colored this little boat in the lower corner. And since the page still felt too empty, I added some more small soap bubbles. Afterwards, I noticed that I had drawn another circle that I didn't turn into a soap bubble. So I will fix that later. I hope this video was helpful to you and you could take something away from it. Bye and see you next time.